What's going on, YouTube? Happy Saturday. RDAPdan here. And yes, I am wearing a ridiculous hat. Shelly has been making fun of my hat all week. Ever since we went rafting a few weeks ago, I bought this hat to keep the sun out of my eyes while we were out on the raft. And she absolutely hates it. So I decided she's going to have to stare at it because she watches the videos in private. She's hidden somewhere right now watching this streaming because she's an RDAPdan fan. So yeah, so what do you guys think about my hat? Is it that bad? It's comfortable. Keeps this, well, there's no sun in here, but when you're out in the sun, you're out on a boat or a raft and you're getting wet, you get the hat wet. It's got a cool little strap that I've got hidden right now, and it holds on. So happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you guys are having an amazing weekend. Hope you guys are doing something fun and exciting other than preparing for prison, because I know that's extremely fun and exciting. We're running about a minute. My watch is dead. I keep looking at it like it's going to tell me what time it is, and I haven't charged it in like 2 days. But we're running about a minute late. Sip on some coffee. It's Saturday. You don't got to be on time on Saturday. Take your time, guys. Walk around, eat some extra bacon, some eggs. Maybe some vegan bacon if you're a vegan. I don't know why I said that. Today we're talking about prison reputations and how important they can be. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Also, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and make sure you tap on that bell. There she is. We're just talking about you, Shelly. Shelly loves my hat. She couldn't. I told you guys she couldn't stay away. She's not even here, and she's here. Can't get rid of her. But prison reputations, how important they are. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Tap on that notification to get updates when we're going live, when we're getting ready to release additional videos. Also, if you haven't already done so, make sure you text the word YouTube to 35074. That will give you additional notifications if we're ever going to do a time change or anything like that. That's really the only way I can let you guys know ahead of time is if you subscribe to the text messaging service. I try not to abuse it. Once in a while, I'll send you guys out just a reminder text or something funny. But all you got to do is send the word YouTube to 35074. All right. I'm sure everybody by now saw the recent upload from yesterday, talking with a sex offender. We had part 1. Part 2 should be ready to be released Monday. And then I plan on releasing part 3 either Wednesday or Thursday. So who do we got with us on this awesome Saturday? Don't everybody talk at the same time now. So far, just Shelly. All right. That's all I need. That's all I need in my life is my Shelly. Juan Carlos. Hello, Mr. Carlos. Juan. Character. I read your text message, Juan. I think that text message you sent me this morning, or was it last night? I saw it this morning about the guys that got probation. That looks like it was state stuff, not federal. Different animal, man. I know you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick on there, but you know, it is what it is. All right, guys, so talking about prison reputation and what that means. So when you're going to prison, first off, let's talk about outside of prison. Let's talk about how we live our lives in the real world, in the free world, on the street, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of us that have lived our lives where we are used to manipulating people, getting over on people, taking advantage here and there without maybe not even intending to do it, but sometimes you overpromise and underdeliver, and you've got times where somebody's trying to get a hold of you and you're dodging them, so you're not answering your phone or you're not answering the door. You're just dodging them. And it's easy to do in the free world because usually there's miles in between people. There's a million things going on, and you can avoid people really easily. So if you have a shitty reputation in the real world, it doesn't matter as much. And it's starting to matter more and more because of social media and internet and people going on there and blasting people with very little information. However, it's still easier to avoid people because it's out of sight, out of mind. When you're in prison, you live on this compound with several hundred guys to several thousand guys or women, depending on your situation. If your reputation in prison gets tarnished, it's going to make a real hard prison sentence. So you need to check yourself and see what type of personality you are before you get into prison, guys. If you know you're the type of person that always likes to have the answer, always wants to help somebody, but then when it comes time to do it, you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't volunteer for that because I'm really not in the mood. I don't want to do it now, and you kind of feel like you're forced to, and then maybe you blow it off once or twice. If you start blowing people off in prison, it gets to be a problem for you because you're easily accessible. You can't go anywhere to get away from anybody. You can't not answer your phone. You can't not answer the door. You can't hide. You know, you're not going to stay in your cube or your cell or whatever prison environment you're in. You're not just going to live in this bubble and hide from people. So if you're putting information out there that, hey, you're a guy that has information, or you're a guy that can get things done, or you're a guy that can help people in the law library. There's a lot of intelligent people like to do stuff in the law library, and they end up doing a lot of help for other people, which is great. But if you're going to be offering this stuff and putting it out there, if you're going to be an expert in something, whether it be real estate, or maybe you have a trucking experience and you're going to help guys, you know, go to practice for their GEDs, whatever it is, if you tell people you can help with these things, people are going to come out of the woodwork and start finding you, and you're going to find yourself being spread real thin. So you're going to have to get comfortable with telling people, no, I don't want to do that. I can't help you. I appreciate it. If I decide to change my mind later on, I'll come find you, because people will hunt you down if they feel like you have something they want. While I was in prison, a lot of people will come to me asking about credit repair. The word spread real fast on the compound that I knew about credit restoration, from both sides of it, from fixing credit, from running a credit repair business, understanding, reading credit, building your credit, just pretty much anything to do with credit. I became the credit guy. There was another guy, actually his name was Juan Carlos. That is fucking hilarious because we have a Juan Carlos in the room. So Juan Carlos at Coleman Lowe, I think he's still there, he was the credit guru, and he's very knowledgeable on credit. I was just more relatable. People felt more comfortable coming up and talking to me, so I started helping out with these credit repair classes. But before I knew it, and when I wanted to do it, it was great. But what was happening was anywhere I went on the compound, people I didn't even know would come up to me and be like, hey, are you Wise, or are you Dan? Whatever they call it. Nobody called me RDAP Dan in prison, obviously. But guys would start coming up to me and asking me, hey, you're the credit guy. Can you sit down with me and go over my credit report? Or just a million questions. And it's like, fuck, man. Sure, why not? Because I didn't like to say no. I had a problem with using assertive communication and just saying, no, I don't want to do it. Instead, I'd be like, yeah, when do you want to do it? And they'd be like, oh, let's do it next Tuesday. Next Tuesday would come. I would sometimes forget that we're supposed to meet at a certain time at a certain spot on the compound, and I just go do what I'm doing, whatever, you know, whether it be going to a class or going to play basketball, and whoever this person was would come up and find me like, hey man, what happened? I'm like, oh shit, bro, I forgot it. Sorry. Then I have to go make up for it, and I have to go stop what I'm doing and go sit down all sweaty and read a fucking credit report that I wasn't in the mood to do. So I liked helping people with their credit, but I didn't like doing it 24/7. So I suggest, if you're the type of person that likes to help people and you feel like that's going to help you do your time, make sure you control that environment and how you do it. Because otherwise, you're going to find that these people will not respect your boundaries. If they see you out walking the track with your headphones on, sipping your coffee early in the morning, they will come tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, I heard you're the guy that can help me with this and this and this. What are you doing right now? And you're kind of like, well, I'm walking the track, listening to music, trying to enjoy my morning. But I guess I'll stop all of that to go look at your fucking credit report. So you have to be real careful with how you enter into engaging with other people in the compound, because it's not just going to be people you're cool with. It's going to be everybody's going to find you. Prisons are real. It's like you think you live in a small world now. You're going to get into a compound where some of you are going to be there for the next year. Some of you might be there for the next 5 years. That's going to be your environment, your world for the next period of time of your life. So you need to make sure you have a good reputation, because your reputation is like your credit score in there. And if you fuck up your reputation, you've got no credit. And then when you need something, no one's going to be around to help you out. So make sure you go into that wisely and think it out. Think of the consequences before you do it. What's an extension? Longer time before you report. Dan, I finally got my designation and an extension. Ah, that's very awesome, Michael. You and I will have to talk about that a little bit. I got some good news about a client. His charges just got dropped. All charges dropped. He no longer is under a federal indictment. He's been under investigation. They've been digging at him. Thought he was for sure going to prison, looking at some serious time, and then got the phone call yesterday from his attorney. You no longer have to worry. All charges dropped. Victory. So that was pretty awesome. Juan Carlos, what's an extension? Yeah, he just got an extension from how long he was given a report date from the judge, and he asked his attorney to get an extension for whatever reason. Mike, what reason did you use to get the extension? Did family, surgery? I got an extension on my surrender. I did it for my arm. I know, Molinesque, even when he told me that, I felt jealous, and I'm already out of prison and done. I was like, huh, they dropped the charges. Well, fuck you, because they didn't drop my charges. But no, honestly, it was weird to hear that because, you know, most of you, I can relate to almost anything you guys say. I don't know what it's like getting indicted. It sucks. I'm scared. I relate. Someone's like, they dropped all my charges. I'm like, oh man, that's a new feeling. I can't even imagine what that would feel like. I imagine it would be the most overwhelming, just probably such a dramatic moment that you don't even know how to feel. Like you can't process it right away. It hits you so fast and hard that as excited as you are, you probably just want to sit down and cry because this is the most overwhelming period of your guys' lives right now, preparing for federal prison. So yeah, I can't even imagine what that feels like. So, you know, we'll try to do a little interview with him to get him to talk about that a little bit if he wants to. You know, it's up to him if he wants to talk about that. But so Michael, surgery. Okay, so you got an extension for a surgery. Yeah, you know, and it's funny because if I wouldn't have been going to prison when I ripped my bicep off of my tendon, and it was bad. It wasn't like just a tear. It was like detached. Tendon went that way. Bicep went all the way up to here. That's why it's still this flat space right here. But I had waited an entire year to get the surgery. A, I didn't have insurance. And B, I'm not a big fan of surgeries. I really didn't want to get it done. But once I got sentenced, I started thinking, I wonder if I can get an extension just to stay out longer if I say I'm going to get a surgery. So I went and found a doctor and went and got this shit taken care of. And if it hadn't been for getting ready to go to prison, I probably never would have fixed my arm, and I would still have a little gimp arm. I mean, it had no, you couldn't do any, I couldn't lift this coffee cup without like feeling like the tendon was going to rip off, because the only thing that was connecting tissue was scar tissue going from here to here. So there was scar tissue in there. That was it. So prison was the reason I got my surgery. Might be the same reason why Michael's getting his surgery, because he's going to prison. Prison forces you to do some things that you may not normally want to do. Caitlin Kelly, Michael, my husband is being sentenced 8/16 and is asking for Florence. You two should talk before. Community's method, people helping people. Fucking buddy system. There you go. Going into prison under the buddy system doesn't get much better than that. You know somebody when you're going to get there. And guys, if you get to prison, you know, there's obviously different units, and you can't go in each other's units. However, you can't ask for transfers. You can't ask to be moved to another unit because you get along with somebody really well. And, you know, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and you keep asking every other week or so, hey, Lieutenant, can you please consider moving me from unit A to unit B? I really have a good relationship with so-and-so and a very non-sexual relationship. We're just good friends. They might make that, you know, because they reward good behavior with things like that from time to time. They definitely punish for bad behavior. It's rare to see rewards for good behavior, but you can see it. I'll be in Florence October 25th. If he gets it, I'll have no problem. Talk to him before. Damn, prison makes you get everything done, even things you'd never get done. It's true. You literally take care of stuff that you would not do. Like, I would not have gotten my surgery. I've been living with it for a year. It just became part of my life, just realizing, okay, my arm's going to be gimpy forever. So I'm super happy that I did it, even though I got tennis elbow right now, and I don't know how I got it. I actually bought this little guy right here. Little cheap old tennis elbow thing. I probably should be wearing it. Maybe later. So, Tamara. What's up, Tamara? Ha, Hunter Moore. I'm wearing the hat, Hunter Moore, because Shelly makes fun of this hat. I bought it for when we go out on the river. Because, man, it gets hot. And, you know, and when my hair is not combed, like when I don't have gel in my hair, I have wild hair. I'm like a wildling. You guys watch Game of Thrones, the wildlings? I'm like a natural wildling. You cannot tame my hair. Look at this hair. This is my hair, guys. Like, I know I just took a hat off, but there's like nothing to do with it. Like a fucking treasure troll. So yeah, so I bought this hat for when we go out on the raft or the river, and it's a hat that, you know, you can get wet and it feels good on your head. Everybody was making fun of my hat, but by the end of the little river trip, both of my kids were wearing it. I think even Shelly might have had it on at one moment because it feels good. Blocks the sun. It's like a little miniature umbrella, and it's got a little thing right here, so you can even get all nerded out with it. And there you go. So anyway, we'll text you after session. Tomorrow. You talking to me tomorrow? With all the sexual equality and gender bathroom discussions, why don't they put opposite sexes in the same prison? I identify as a female lesbian. Yeah, probably not going to happen. Hola, Billy Gomez. What is up, my man? We had a transgender that identified as a woman, and it was in RDAP, and her name was Miss Lampley. It was kind of rough at first, and I knew something was up because one day Dr. Smith, the RDAP coordinator for Coleman Low, she came into the morning meeting and she's like, "Guys, I need all of your attention. We're having a serious conversation." So she like shut down the whole conversation, what was going on, and basically told us that somebody was coming to the compound or coming to the unit that identified as a woman, and was basically, it was like being in like 5th grade. There's like, does anybody know what a transgender is? Can anybody explain what a transgender is? And honestly, most people couldn't. I don't even think I knew what it was at the time. I thought I don't know, sex change? I think that's what I just assumed, and that's what most people assumed. But as you guys, if you don't know, that's just a transgender is just if you identify as something that you weren't born as. So you can still look 100% like a man, but feel like a woman, and you have to be addressed as, you know, she, her, Mrs., you know, and it was weird in RDAP because we were required to say Miss Lampley. We couldn't say him or he or Mr. So that took a little bit of getting used to. But anyway, yeah. Tamara, talking to you, Dan. Okay. Sure, Tamara. Yeah, text me as soon as we're done, and or call me, whatever's easier for you. Hopefully you got some updates for me. But yeah, you know, there's transgenders, there's homosexuals in prison, lesbians if you're a female going to prison, and you know, you just got to respect everybody's choices, guys. My best friend to this day, from the time of a young age, is a lesbian. So you know, I think I just kind of grew up with that understanding. So it was never like sprung on me like a shock value that a lot of other people feel. You know, I imagine being a child and finding out or thinking or being curious and wondering if you're having these feelings for the same sex. I imagine that being a very hard thing to deal with as a child, especially if you potentially have parents who are, you know, very outspoken about, you know, oh, I hate gays, fag this, you know, stupid dykes. And the kids hear this coming from their parents. You got to imagine they're repressing as hard as they can, going into like a rebellious phase, not knowing how to come out and say it. So, you know, if I ever found out that about my children, I would okay, more power to you. Let's go hold up some lesbian flags somewhere and, you know, let people know. Humans are humans. So what do you guys think about the sex offender video, the interview? Part 1 of 3. So why do they split genders into different prisons? So why do they split genders into different prisons? I mean, you're really going to ask that question, Juan Carlos. because they don't want you to procreate in federal prison with a female inmate. They barely let male and female in halfway houses. A lot of halfway houses are, male only or female only halfway houses. The halfway house I was at was men only, and then they opened another halfway house. What's up, Nick? Hola, Nick. I don't know why I keep saying hola. I'm not Spanish, and I don't really speak a word of Spanish other than like, sí, hola. Wouldn't it be more humane to keep husbands and wives together? I think that in some other countries, I do believe they do that. But imagine the prison politic with some of the more violent prisons, and you get into a rough medium or a bad pen, and you've got your wife there with you. I mean, good chance she might be. I mean, there's guys getting raped in prison every day. I wouldn't want my wife with me in a men's prison, knowing what these other men might do to her if they got the opportunity. So I think when you look at the whole perspective on that thought process, I think we would all come to the conclusion as it's probably not a good idea. At least not with the way the current prison system is run, especially on the rougher side of the prisons. I spoke to the crew over at After Prison Show today a little bit, emailing back and forth with Cody. So, man, I got just like a hair flying around and it landed on my nose. So it looks like I might be doing some things with After Prison Show here in the near future, but we've heard that before. We've heard that before, RDAP. Come back to us when you got some hardcore facts and evidence. So I was talking to some guys this morning, one guy specifically, who called me up, and he's been, looking for a prison consultant for a little while, and just wants to make sure that he's making the right decision, and that's what everybody should be doing. If you're looking to hire a prison consultant, it's probably best to shop around, and understand what different guys might do versus somebody else. But one of the things, if I had to say something that you want to look out for, is payment methods. If somebody is only able to tell you to like wire funds to their account, or make a deposit into their account, or Western Union or MoneyGram, those should be somewhat of red flags. And the only reason I say that, not to necessarily say that those, if that's how they take payment, that they're necessarily a scam. I get it. You save money by doing that because you don't have to pay, credit card processing fees. But the industry that I came from, sales and marketing, call centers, things like that, the only people that didn't take credit cards were the shady ones. Because if you wire funds to somebody's account, you have no recourse. If they rip you off, scam you, take you for a ride, you really can't get your money back. I mean, you can try to sue them and go to court, but if you pay with like a credit card and somebody takes advantage of you and doesn't deliver, you can usually call up and dispute your credit card and get the money back. I mean, so I don't understand why somebody would have a business in prison consulting in 2017 where who the hell uses checks or wants to take the time to like go do a wire transfer and spend the money on that when, you can give up them 16 digits and make it simple and secure. So just want to put that out there. Anybody ever calls me, I've only had one client that's Western Union me money, and that's because that was the only method they had available to them. They didn't have a checking account, they didn't have credit cards or a friend that they could do it with, so they had to do Western Union. But other than that, you guys I'll never ask you to go, hey, go deposit funds into my bank account. I'll send you a QuickBooks invoice, and it gives you the option, check or credit card. It's up to you. So just keep that in mind, guys. That should be a red flag if you're out there shopping. You want to make sure, a sales pitch is only as good as its delivery. So if somebody tells you they can do all of these things and they got fancy websites and bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, they're not answering the phone, they're not delivering, they're not doing anything for you, you've got questions, they're not getting answered. At the same time, you got to have realistic expectations. If someone's promising you all of these things that can get done and you're being naive enough to believe these things, not doing your homework because it sounds too good. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it just might be. Nobody is going to be able to give you a guarantee of anything other than how hard they're going to work for you. Nobody can promise you what prison you're going to land at. Nobody can promise you RDAP. Nobody can promise you that personal narratives or character reference letters are going to make an impact with a judge. Nobody can promise you that doing community service and, putting all this extra time in is going to have any change with your sentencing. At the same time, there's prison consultants out there that will actually tell you it's a waste of time to work on personal narratives and character reference letters. They will tell you it's a waste of time to do community service. They will tell you it's a waste of time to go to AA, NA, things like that. And that blows my mind that A, consultants would tell you that, and B, attorneys will tell you that. Because even if you don't know if it's going to make a difference or not, that 1/100th of 1% chance that it's going to make a difference should be enough motivation to do these things. And we've all seen firsthand with our clients, actually one of them's in the room right now, Will Power, we've seen firsthand that community service, personal narratives, character reference letters, AA, NA, all of that additional above and beyond stuff makes a difference. It got Will probation. It got Todd a 9-year sentence versus a 17.5-year sentence. So it can make a difference. Will it necessarily make a difference? We don't know. Nobody knows until you know. But can tell you this, even if it doesn't impact your sentencing, it's still going to, look, if you start doing it soon enough, like let's say you got several months to go still, and you start doing these things, and you're like, oh my God, I hate doing this. But once you build a pattern and you get into a habit of doing it, it starts to become more part of your routine. You don't mind it as much. A lot of these programs in prison that you're looking to take, like RDAP and other cognitive skill type programs, reentry type programs, they require you to put in time and effort in things that you're not comfortable doing. So this is starting to form and build new character traits that you want to carry with you into prison. Positivity, reading books. There's prison consultants out there that tell you none of that shit matters. It's because it didn't matter for them. They weren't able to dedicate and put in the hard work and the effort to do those things. They may have different methods on what they do, but there's no secret sauce. Secret sauce, you guys ready? It's hard work. Hard work and effort. That's the secret sauce, everybody. Just told you the magic recipe. So now you can go out and market that and make $1 million and just tell everybody, if you work hard, you get what you want. Holy fuck, that sounds so easy. But it's not. Willpower. Dan, you need to come to New York City. I got a radio show for you to get on. Will, what's the radio show? This is the second time I've heard this. Also from my friend Robbie, who wants me to come to New York City to do some radio show. My kids are in New York City, so maybe I'll make a trip to New York City. But yeah, tell me more, Will. Tell me more. I want to hear more about this radio show. John Goff. John Goff. How does it feel to ride that Cloud 9, my friend? John Goff's riding on a cloud right now, just floating through the atmosphere. Dan needs to get on my show. You're right, Dan. Tell him. Will, why can't I get on the show from here? It's a radio show. Can't I just like, hi, we have rdapdan here live on Skype or live on the radio? I can do a lot from this little cave of a room. Emma's doing fucking fantastic, guys. If you don't know, I've got video. I should make a video about Emma. So as you know, I found this little baby bird that was basically dying. She couldn't move. We thought it was a pine cone because it was just sitting still in the grass, and me and my daughter walked up to it, and the only thing it would do was open its mouth. It couldn't make any noise. It was dehydrated. It was starving. It was just completely on its way out. So we took it home. We started rehabilitating it and got her good and flying around the house, basically living in my office, and I feel like a bird maid because I'm constantly cleaning up after this bird. So we took her back to the park 2 weeks later after we found her. Doing fine, right? We took her to the park, opened the cage, boom, she was gone. Just flew up into the trees, being a bird, singing, loving it. So we left, came back a couple hours later. We found her in a different tree, just eating berries, living life. So we're like, all right, cool. So we left again. And then we went out to dinner or something. We're like, you know what? Let's go check on Emma one more time. So we start walking through the park, and we can hear her literally from the entrance of the park. I'm like, man, that's Emma. Shelly's like, no, it's not. I'm like, that's Emma. I know Emma's voice. I know my girl. So as we got up to the tree, I'm like, Shelly, that's Emma. She's like, oh my God, it's Emma. That bird flew straight down, got on my shoulder, and would not leave. She was super, super thirsty. So she doesn't know how to go out and forage. She knows how to find the berries because they're in the trees, but she doesn't know how to go out and drink on her own yet. So Emma came back to the house, and Emma's still here. So we're going to figure out something on how we're going to get Emma back out there in the wild. But until then, we've got a waxwing, something waxwing, whatever she is. But man, falling in love with this bird, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be really hard to let her go. You can, but the energy is better if you're in the studio. Your boy Jeff. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Jeff Broom would love to have you on the show. The show is called On Point Experience every Saturday from 9 to 11 a.m. That's 9 to 11 Eastern time, I'm assuming. So now, do they have, hey, Will, can I go on there and listen to pre-recorded shows, like pull one up and listen to it? But I would love to test it. You know, obviously I'm probably more than likely not going to come to New York just to do that at this point, because that would be an expensive travel trip to New York to go get on the show. But if I'm up in New York, man, do the show, go out for dinner or whatever, I would be down just to come hang out with you and kick it with my boy Will, brother from another mother. So I got this crazy call yesterday, guys. I got a call from a lady, her great-grandmother. Her great-grandson is in prison, or getting ready to go to prison, getting ready to get sentenced. He was found guilty of rape. That's bad, right? Found guilty of rape, and the jury found him guilty. Life in prison without the chance of parole. Now, apparently, the great-grandmother told me something is really, 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 really messed up with the situation, because she saw the video. Apparently, the great-grandson's like 22 or 23 years old, went to like a little party, a little house party, and chicks were there too. And this girl slept with like 3 guys the same night on video, willingly. She was talking, and she never reported rape or nothing. Somebody turned over the video somewhere, and the parents got a hold of the video, and rape charges got filed. The woman never claimed to be raped, or the girl never claimed to be raped. She was above age and all that stuff. It wasn't like, you know, an underage kid or something like that. So both parties were over the age of 18. And he fought it, and he was found guilty. So I haven't seen all this evidence. I don't know, you know, if, you know, it's the great-grandmother. She may just have a soft spot and not want to believe her grandson could do this. However, I said, look, if this is true, and you can get me this evidence, and you can provide this evidence, I think, and now, okay, here's the real kicker. We live in this giant race war community right now, right, where it's all about black versus white, white versus black, you know, Black Lives Matter, all this bullshit that we're dealing with right now. The kid's black, the girl's white. As much as I don't want to say that has something to do with it, I feel like, man, I'd be crazy to automatically dismiss and wonder, what if he was white? What if the boy was white and the girl was black? Or what if, you know, just any kind of other situation, how would that potentially have played out? So you have to run those thoughts through your mind. So I told her, I said, look, get me the information, all that you can. I've got a writing team that does press releases that gets this media in front of basically anybody and everybody that's in the media. I'm getting ready to use the service for myself now that finally getting some momentum and getting some notoriety. I would like to get on After Prison Show first to kind of get some organic growth before I go blow up the media with who the fuck is RDAPdan. But I feel like that, if it's true and there is, you know, visual doubt, like this doesn't look like rape, you know, maybe it was 2 teenagers making a bad choice, but I don't see any holding down or forcing. I would really like to see it. So the grandmother is going to try to get me this information. And if that's the case, you know, there's groups out there that take stuff like this on. And even if it's just for pure media exposure alone, there's plenty of attorneys out there that would love to jump on that just for the exposure of, if they were to win it, just imagine what attorney everybody's going to be calling if their child's convicted of rape. But to hear anybody getting sentenced to life in prison without the opportunity of parole, man, that's just, at the age of 23, that's a death sentence for sure. And just, you know, whew, thank God you guys aren't going through that, right? Could be worse. Willpower, I missed Eastern time, and yes, pre-recorded shows. Okay, Will, do me a favor, because I'm probably going to lose this spot where you sent that on this. If you can text me or email me that radio show, that would be super awesome. Oh my, yeah, tomorrow. That's what I mean. Obviously, they're going to appeal it, but you know, just because you appeal doesn't necessarily mean it gets overturned. Kimberly, I remember you telling me that story, Kimberly. And Shelly's home. I just heard her walk in the house. You got it, bro. Thank you, Willpower. So, what are you guys all doing this weekend? You know, it's been a crazy week. You know, you guys saw the video I did with the prison consultants or whatever, Battle of the Prison Consultants. After I watched that video, gave me a gross feeling in my stomach. So for any of you out there that watched that video, I apologize for allowing myself to even release something like that, because I don't know any of those facts to be true. I'm not going to say they are or they're not true. Clearly there's some beef going on between Justin and Larry, between Justin Paperny and Larry Levine. Clearly there's some beef going on there, but after listening to that video play back, I don't know, it just seemed a little like I was kicking somebody while they might be down, and that's not what this channel should be about. It shouldn't be about, you know, regardless of what's going on. Now, if there were some hardcore facts out there, and you know it was undisputable, somebody's out there taking advantage and ripping people off, okay, let's post away. Let's you know, buyer beware. Let the world know, you know, don't go near this person, because. But I don't know those things to be a fact, so I felt pretty shitty for having that video up. So that's why a lot of you had sent me a text the next day. You're like, hey, I can't find that video, because I put it on private. I don't know, just I didn't sleep at all that night. Thought about it all night long. Bothered me. I went out to dinner that night. Couldn't enjoy dinner. Had a drink. Couldn't enjoy that. Came home. Couldn't sleep. Just made me feel kind of scummy. So Justin, if you're watching the video, I'm sorry. That's you know, we're in competition with each other, but we don't need to attack each other. That's for sure. Shelly the Machine. To all those reading my treads, if you're not a client, you should seriously think about working with Dan and Shelly. They helped me through a very tough time. Well, thank you, Will. And there's other people that Will doesn't even know about, because you know they don't really have contact with the clients. But we got Shayna, who really kind of oversees and approves the writing. Shayna's she's the mastermind behind the storylines that we come up with changing paragraphs around to really create a hook for a judge to hold on to, or a probation officer. So we send a lot of that stuff to her. She'll make adjustments and changes. So, you know, that's why, you know, look, if it was me, if you guys were like, who's going to write your letters? RDAP, oh my God. You guys would be in some hot water, because I can say it, I just can't write it. You know, when I start writing, it just comes out wrong. It's like, you know, I know what it needs to say. When it's done right, I know what it looks like. But when I write it, it's like, just don't write it anymore, Dan. Just give it to us. So I stopped. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. And what I'm not good at is drafting the personal narrative myself. Not good at it. But that's what I got people for. We got a people of awesomeness. Team awesomeness. Dan, please personally thank them for me. Man, they know. Trust me, they know. And it was like a trophy when they found out you got probation. They're running around patting each other on the back, running around, oh, we got him this. And they're like, no, I did it. No, I did it. No, but everybody was, it's a good feeling because we know we contributed to that. And we know you put in the hard work and the effort. We quarterbacked, gave you some plays, and man, you ran those plays like a trained fucking athlete. So you did the work. We just laid out a little bit of a roadmap for you, and you were willing to do it. And if everybody could do that, not everybody's going to get probation because there's so many moving parts. Not every judge is going to agree to that. You know what I mean? You had a sympathetic judge that saw what you did, saw the effort. So, but I'll take it. I'll take the pat on the back. Happens every day. Even the guy that just got his case dropped, charges dismissed. Federal charges dismissed. Doesn't happen every day. Does not happen every day. Even he attributes some of that credit to us, and I'm like, I didn't call the judge or prosecutor and say don't press charges or drop it, but he says it's because of the attitude that we allowed him to maintain and some of the advice that we gave him and how he conducted his conversations with prosecutors and the agents and the DEA, and how he allowed himself not to get cocky and realize the situation. He said because of everything that he's been doing, he feels like that has a part of why they dismissed his case. And God, I can't imagine what that feels like. Holy shit. I can't shake this headache today, guys. I feel like there was something I was going to show you. I know you guys want to see this photo again. I don't know why it's still sitting here. All right, let's look at 16-year-old RDAP Dan on the weight bench. Oh my God. There's a time in my life where I would absolutely freak out if I knew this information was out on the internet, and now it's me posting it. Look at me. Look at my socks. Look at my shoes. Look at rusty ass 45-pound weights. That's my buddy Justin. That was my best friend growing up. But yeah, that was back in like 1996 or 97. Oh man, too funny. But yeah, so I don't know where that picture came from. Found it somewhere going through old pictures when I moved or something, and I was just like, holy moly. So one day we'll pull out some more embarrassing pictures. But see, that's the thing. You guys that are getting ready to go into RDAP, I've talked to some of you about it, and you've asked me, is it true they make you do these crazy things in the morning meeting, like get up, sing, and dance, and embarrass yourself? And it's like, yeah, it's true, because a lot of us struggle with humility. Same reason why the old me would struggle holding this picture up, is I don't want to be made fun of. I don't want to be teased. But once you realize, who fucking cares? It's not that big of a deal what people think. I was 16. Who doesn't have a stupid picture of them when they were 16 doing something? And, I do got some short shorts on, though. Holy cow. Oh, man. But practicing humility is important, guys, because there's going to be a time in your life where you're out somewhere and someone's going to say something that makes you feel awkward, or they're going to embarrass you somehow. You're going to feel like your ego is challenged, and you're going to bow up and you're going to say something stupid, and you don't know what the repercussion of that might be. Those consequences could be nothing, or, it could be as crazy as getting a gun pulled on you. So make sure that you try to humble yourself and practice humility. Don't worry so much about what everybody else thinks about you, because if you know what you know about yourself and the shit that they're saying, like if someone said, oh my God, Dan, you look like, I don't know, you look like a flaming homo. It's like, okay, I know that I'm not, so it doesn't really matter that somebody might think that. Not that there's anything wrong with, I didn't mean that as a derogatory word, just to give you guys as an example that somebody might say something that might offend somebody. You choose to allow yourself to get offended from words. If someone calls you a punk bitch, okay, are you a punk bitch? If you're not, don't worry about it. If you are, maybe they hit close to home and they said something that was true that you've been fighting with. So, guys, you just got to be willing to to look past that kind of stuff because it's not important. Focus on what's important. You know, there's so many other things to waste energy on. And if you're focused on all this energy about what people think about you, you know, we all care to an extent. It's just human nature. But, you know, I was thinking, man, am I really going to wear this hat today? Am I really going to show what my hair looks like, not combed, on YouTube, where potentially the entire world can see me? And I just don't care. And that's part of why we have this relationship, is because it's just who I is. Juan Carlos, do you think the kid in the picture ever thought he would be wearing makeup 3 times a week? I don't think that kid ever thought he'd be wearing makeup 3 times a week. You know, and I didn't put any on today. I forgot, actually. That's probably why I look like I rubbed my face in bacon grease. I'm like the greasiest person I know. I just took a shower like 45 minutes ago, and I'm already greasy. Actually, not 45 minutes ago, because the video started 45 minutes ago. Like 15 minutes before the video started. Had a late shower. So guys, real quick, for those of you that missed the beginning of the video, prison reputations, do they matter? If you're going into federal prison, and just kind of reiterate a little bit here, if you're going into federal prison, you know you have been the type of person that dodges people's phone calls, doesn't answer the phone, doesn't answer your door, ignores people, avoids people, especially when someone's trying to get a hold of you, or you said you were going to do something and you're not doing it. In the free world, you can get away with that because you can, oh, I didn't hear the phone ring. Oh, I didn't know you were there. Oh, I forgot. Oh, my dog died. My grandmother's in the hospital. You can come up with a million stories. In prison, that shit doesn't work because you live with these people. You're with them 24/7. So if you start playing that game and blowing people off and they got to come hunt you down, and they will, your reputation is going to become shit, and your reputation equals your prison credit score. If you have a bad prison credit score, no one is going to mess with you in the way that you want to be able to communicate. They're not going to trust you. They're going to gossip behind your back. Oh yeah, Dan knows a lot about credit, but he always says he's going to help and he never helps. So it's useless. He's you know, he's not trustworthy. You can't count on him. You know, you don't want to be that guy in prison. So don't overextend yourself. Don't offer things that you don't really want to do. Be able to be assertive in your communication. If somebody hears you're, you know, a real estate genius, or, you know, you can help people study for their GED, and all of a sudden you got people coming up to you. You're walking the track, minding your own business. Someone says, hey, can you help me study for the GED? And you're like, oh, I don't want to. But yet you go, yeah. Okay, you just committed to something you don't want to do, and now you're getting all kinds of resentment. So you got to learn how to just hold your ground and say, oh, you know what, man, I don't really have time for that right now. You know, if things change, I'll come find you. But other than that, you know, I don't want to promise something that I don't know I can put in the time. I'm working on myself right now. I got a lot. And they might go, oh, man, whatever, and disappear. But at least you didn't promise them something that you're not going to do. So you really have to go in there with wanting to have, because look, you're going to get there. Your reputation is going to be fine because you haven't done anything yet. But it's real easy to burn your reputation. And once you burn that reputation, prison becomes a different experience. So don't go into prison with a shitty reputation. Why did they drop the dude's charges? Let's get some more details on that. I don't know. Don't even know if he's still in the room. But if he wants to talk about that, you know, that's up to him. I know he's still living high on life right now. You know, he wasn't actually indicted. He was being investigated for a long time, though. And usually when you're being investigated for that long time, usually an indictment follows. He was so sure that he hired me as his prison consultant, you know, a couple months back. And yesterday found out charges were dropped. But, you know, I don't want to go into those details, Juan. If he wants to, or gives me permission to talk about it, of course, then I'd be more than happy to do it. But just like I respect everybody's privacy, guys, you said he talked with the DEA. Yeah, during the investigation, while he was being investigated. Like, I was offered a pre-indictment plea. You know, my investigation went on for quite a while too before I ever got indicted. So, you know, he just, combination of luck or maybe bigger fish to fry. You know, we don't know. We just don't know. But I will talk to him, and if he wants to talk about that, then absolutely. But I at least wanted to share the good news of, hey, you know, good things can happen. So that's just more proof that if you haven't been indicted yet and you're under investigation, the possibility of it being dropped does exist, just not very likely. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap this video up. Monday will be part 2 of the mind of a sex offender. So hopefully nobody was offended by the video. Its intentions weren't to shock everybody. It wasn't intended to be, saying that it's okay to be a sex offender or child pornography. It's more information out there as to what causes this, what's the root of it, how can it be helped. When these guys get out of prison, what can they do to make sure they don't do it again? It's easy to say they should all burn in hell. It's easy to say they should all be murdered. It's easy to say they're all monsters and there is no fixing it. But that's not helping at all, guys, because the reality is most sex offenders, especially when it comes to downloading child pornography, most of them will be released from prison at some point. And if the issue is not dealt with properly, you don't know if it's going to resurface. And if it does resurface and they start Googling again and they start getting that interest that they can't avoid, they start getting that addiction again, next time it could be your child, my child, somebody you know. So your options are stick your head in the sand and just perpetuate more hate, or do a little research and start letting the people know, say, hey, as much as I don't agree with what you fucking did, I hope you can get help, because I would hate for you to do it again to somebody else's child. That's where our energy needs to focus on. And if you're watching these videos for that, the idea is to get a little bit of the psychology behind it as to what's causing that. So look forward to that video on Monday. Those of you that are on the text campaign, you will get a notification of a early release of the mind of a sex offender. So if you want to see it before anybody else, make sure you text the word YouTube to 35074. Text the word YouTube to 35074 to get a sneak peek of part 2 of the mind of a sex offender. All right, guys, I'm rdapdan. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll be live Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Don't forget, we're going live at 6 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. going forward, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. I'm rdapdan. Love every single one of you. Keep it real. Till next time.